You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hey there, welcome to episode 279 of
the Soul Forge Podcast.
Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soul Forge.
Hey everybody, I'm Sean.
I'm Amanda.
And we're here to bring you an exciting episode, as you can tell from the title.
Oh my god, yes.
So isn't it true that everybody dies?
Yes.
And especially with the state of the world right now, there are multiple ways that could happen. War could happen.
Yes.
Climate change might cause wildfires or a flood.
Zombie apocalypse.
There's always the chance of a zombie apocalypse.
Mushrooms taking over your body.
And then it'll just be the last of us here talking on a podcast. That's right. Yeah, there's so many different ways that the end of the world can happen.
Yes.
But say it doesn't actually happen, and you have to prepare for a loved one's fond farewell. Can you put them in a Viking funeral boat and send them off down the river?
Not anymore. That's illegal and frowned upon.
Okay.
I'm not saying people don't do it. I'm sure maybe in parts of the world that's still a thing. But, in Ontario and Canada, I know that legally, even when you get cremated, you're not supposed to spread ashes anywhere.
Is that true?
Yes.
You're not supposed to spread the ashes?
Nope.
How come?
The government doesn't like body parts that have been cremated spread everywhere, I guess. Oh. I'm really not sure why that is a thing, but it's a thing.
I hadn't heard that.
It's true.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, now I know.
People do it, but,
right.
How are they going to stop it from happening? But technically...
They don't have cremation police everywhere.
Not that I'm aware of. No. I have not run into any, and I have done my fair share of spreading ashes.
Yeah, I've done enough of it too, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there's different kinds of ways that people fantasize about being departed, I guess.
Yes.
Like, I thought having my ashes shot up into space would be cool, like the guy who played Scotty on the original Star Trek. He had that done.
Yeah, that would be very cool. Extremely expensive.
Well.
But very cool. And I don't really know if what we're going to talk about has that option.
No, true enough.
But there's definitely things loved ones can do. Maybe they could stick your ashes in a rocket and just shoot it out.
Yeah, and see what happens.
And hopefully it gets as close to space
as possible?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, once I'm gone, I don't really care what happens.
Well, that's true too. But some people believe that
there's an afterlife or something.
Yeah, there's something.
There might be, but we don't know.
No.
There's no way to know.
No,
there's that. Is it also true that you can have your remains as fertilizer for trees?
Yes.
I've heard that.
Yes, you can put your remains in pods of trees. That's now a thing.
I once heard that you could have your ashes mixed in with a vinyl record and play some songs.
Well, that is something that you do afterwards, definitely. But what we're going to talk about, once you have the ashes, then it's up to you what you do. You can make them into jewelry. You can... any of that kind of
diamonds
stuff.
For your ring or
whatever you want.
There's all kinds of options, isn't there?
There really is. And it's a ginormous business that people don't really know about because it's not something people think about.
Do you remember back in high school, Mr. Brown?
Yes.
He was the marketing / business teacher, and he always said that you should go into funeral stuff, planning, or be a mortician.
Because it's always a business.
That's right. And we all thought that was very gross. And I don't know if anybody did it. And even 25 years later, I think, maybe I should have done it.
Mm-hmm. No, I have family members that are morticians and work in funeral homes. And Yeah, it's an industry that is never going to
be out of business.
No, like COVID couldn't touch that. Wow, it actually boomed during that.
Right, for sure.
So yes, definitely. If it's hard though when you're in your teenage years to think about death unless you've experienced it firsthand.
That is true.
It's something people don't want to think about.
Well, that's also true.
And this is, the reason that I'm here today is to tell people they need to think about it.
Because you've had some personal experience with that.
Yes.
But before we get into that, let's just throw another promo in for a podcast.
Ooh, promos! Those are my favorite.
Right here on
The Soul Forge Podcast.
in association with...
Oh my God, the ISO Network?
Close.
Tell me.
E.
The ESO Network. The ESO Network.
You gotta ask yourself one question, punk.
What the hell is a cigar nerd?
Welcome to the Cigar Nerds Podcast.
It's the only show where two guys smoke cigars and talk about nerd culture.
Do you like movies, games, comics, sci-fi, pulp culture, and beer?
Do you like science, nerd news, explosions for no apparent reason?
Then this is the show for you.
It's like being in a nerdy cigar shop, but for your ears.
Check us out at cigarnerdpodcast.com.
And we're back.
Oh my God, did you guys love that? I totally love that. But now let's get back into more serious stuff.
We're not just going to talk about zombies?
No.
Oh.
No. That would be fun, and I would love that, but...
Should we do that another time?
Definitely. Oh, definitely.
Like preparing for surviving in the wastelands?
That would be fun.
Yeah, that would be a fun topic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But this time, we're not going to have fun. We're going to talk about funerals.
Yes, funerals.
Yes.
As most of you know, it's funerals. And I'm sure by this point, if you haven't been to one, that's going to be very surprising and good for you. However, most of us have. And I know it's very hard to go to funerals for the most part. I mean, they're never fun, right?
They're really not.
There's not very much fun in funeral, even though the word's there.
There's a lot of crying.
Yep, yeah, yep. And a lot of regret and a lot of,
General sadness.
yes, overall doom and gloom, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes they're celebrated, though. Celebrations
Celebration
of life.
of life, yeah.
Sometimes they're celebrated, but here's the thing. You're going to die.
What?
Yeah, you're going to die.
Even me?
Even you.
Shit.
I know. I'm sorry. You might eventually be able to cryogenically whatever, and perhaps in 100 years come back. I don't know.
I was hoping for an android body that I could download my consciousness into, but I don't have that kind of money.
Fair.
And
yeah.
I don't think the technology's there yet.
It's not.
That's sad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is. It's very sad.
So I guess, short of immortality and some kind of magic cure, we better plan for a funeral? Is that what you're telling me?
That's what I'm trying to tell you, and everyone else who's listening. My husband got sick back in 2017, and he passed away in 2019. But when his cancer came back in 2019, I knew there probably wasn't going to be much of a chance of survival. So I went and I planned his funeral.
While he was still alive.
While he was still alive, yes. And when I did that, I also planned my own funeral.
Is that right?
Yes, I did. Yep. It isn't an easy thing to do. You go into the funeral. What is it called?
The funeral home?
Yes, the funeral home. Thank you. I was going to say parlor.
Well, I think that's where the showings are. But...
Yeah, no. So, but you make an appointment, you go in, and you can literally plan anything and everything that you want for your own funeral. The upside of this is you get what you want, for one. Mm-hmm. Your children and family members don't have to worry about planning your funeral when they are in an extremely emotional state of grief.
Yes, because I can say firsthand, when we planned Mom's funeral, that was horrendous.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's something that I don't believe any child should ever have to go through. So that being said, my funeral is planned. I pay for it monthly. Every month, comes out of my account. After the first 2 years, this is a good part, guys. Maybe not good, but good. after you've paid into it for 2 years, no matter how much left remaining on your account is paid.
Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. How does that work?
If you die after 2 years, it's kind of like an insurance policy. They just pay it out.
Oh, gotcha. If you die within that 2 years.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
no, you have to stay alive for those 2 years.
Okay.
And then after that, if you die,
Yeah. Then you don't have to pay anymore.
No,
Your estate doesn't have to pay.
no, it's paid.
But otherwise, how long is the payment that you have?
I have 20-year payment.
A 20-year payment.
But the good news about that is it's locked in.
Yeah.
So God knows with inflation prices and stuff, what funerals are going to cost whenever, right?
Right.
So this way, my funeral is set at that locked in price. That's what I pay, done and over with.
So you're what, 4 years into your 20-year payment? Roughly?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, but if you died now, then
My funeral is paid off.
Your estate doesn't have to worry about it.
No, it's paid. And no matter where you are in the world, at least on this planet, on planet Earth, no matter where you are, they will transport your body back home.
Well, that's good.
That's covered.
Nice.
That's part of it. So you can die in the middle of the Mayan jungle, and they're still gonna transport you back to...
Ship you back in a box and
Yep.
let your funeral commence that you've already paid for.
Absolutely. And can you imagine how much that would cost?
A lot.
If it wasn't covered.
Yeah.
So the smart thing to do, if you have children, if you have loved ones, think about their thoughts and feelings. I know you're dead, you're gone, you probably are like, I don't care. Okay, but look what you're leaving behind. They still care.
Because there's a mess.
And they're the ones who have to deal with it.
And you got like 3 or 4 days to plan this funeral.
Yes.
That's usually what it is, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And you don't, and then...
And if it's unexpected, well, then you're in a big tizzy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not, it's definitely a hard thing to do because you have to face your own mortality. And a lot of people aren't strong enough to do that.
That's true.
And I understand that.
It's a very difficult subject.
It is a very difficult subject. However, again, if you don't plan your funeral, have a will, do all that kind of stuff, then, you don't have control of what happens then.
No.
The government does.
Right. It's pure chaos for the ones you leave behind.
Exactly. So any funeral home, I believe, has all of these, payment plans that you can do. You can go over 25 years. You get to choose. I can be cremated. I can this. I can that. Take my thumbprint before you cremate me so that it can be made into necklaces or keychains or whatever your kids want. Then you get to pick your urn or your coffin or whatever you want, your flower arrangements, like literally everything. And then on top of that, you can choose how the funeral home will help you afterwards, the person that's in charge of your estate.
Right. So you've got this all planned out for your funeral.
Yes.
What if your kids or whoever's left behind doesn't like the way you've set it up? Can it be changed, or it's your wishes, so it's your...
My wishes, that's what I want. End of story. And that's what's been paid for. If they want to pay for extra,
right,
by all means, go for it.
Yeah.
But the funeral home also helps your loved ones with canceling your social insurance number. Letting the government know
all that
you've passed.
Paperwork stuff.
They take care of so much of that. And trust me, guys, that is a huge stress. And it's nice to not have that stress.
Because they have everything in place.
Yes.
So it's streamlined. Your loved ones don't have to worry about anything.
No, you sit down with them afterwards, the loved one, the estate, the person who is your executor. Because if you're planning your funeral and you're smart enough and brave enough to go do that, at the same time you should plan a will. Wills can be changed.
Yeah.
So you can do all of that. And with a will, you can choose an executor and you can choose a health executor. For those of you who don't know what an executor is, it's the person who's in charge of all of your estate, your money, everything after all your possessions after you pass.
Right.
So a health executor is in charge of your health. So let's say I don't want to be left on life support, but I don't want my kids to have to make that decision.
The health executor does. And
yes.
They can pull the plug.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
so they can do what my wishes are, and my kids don't have to live with the fact that they unplugged their mother,
Right.
who was laying there on life support.
Okay. So you've planned all this stuff out.
Yes.
How does it work now? So say you passed away. Mm-hmm. Your kid has paperwork that he knows about.
Oh, yes.
So that he can talk to the funeral home.
Yep.
Or.
Yep.
Like, so people know, like you've told them.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then, like, is there like a file folder at the house that says this is what the next step is?
No,
or?
Everything is at the funeral home. They
Okay.
just have to go there.
Oh, okay.
Everything that I want is in a file there. And
they just have to know which funeral home you've dealt with, and
yep,
that's it.
that's all that there is to it.
Ah.
They go in and they say, my mom or my daughter or
whoever has passed.
Whoever has passed, and
I know she's got an account here. Mm-hmm. Help me out.
And you're good to go.
'Cause I'm crying here and I don't know what to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because trust me, you're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Anyone who has lost a loved one knows how overwhelming it is. And not only that, a lot of the time people are in shock.
Yes.
So, like, think about that state of mind that you're in.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I
You know,
yeah, I've been there.
And most of the time, honestly, my husband's funeral, I don't even remember it.
Yeah, I can believe that.
I remember certain things.
Yeah.
The flower arrangement I picked out with the fish and, things like that, right?
Yeah.
But I don't remember what I said. Mm-hmm. I don't, it's a blur.
Of course.
So,
Because it's overwhelming and your brain short circuits.
yes. So thank God I had the stuff planned out ahead of time.
And what gave you the idea to do this?
My parents, they have their funerals all planned out.
Ah,
And I had talked to them about it before.
okay.
And I thought, when you know your loved one is going to pass, which I somehow internally knew. I didn't want to,
Well, of course
but
not.
I did.
Yeah.
And I knew that I wouldn't be able to emotionally put that on the table as well.
Right. So you pre-planned it while he was still somewhat in good
Yes.
shape.
Yeah. Because, I had his kids to take care of. I had, my kids to take care of. I had me to take care of. I had a total meltdown after.
I can imagine.
And, so during, you're just kind of, for lack of a better word, you're a robot. You're completely in robot mode.
Yep, survival.
That's it.
Yeah.
Everything else just shuts down. It's like, boop, this paperwork, boop, this paperwork, boop, get this done. And then when that wears off, you're just left with your emotion and it sucks.
Yeah, it does.
So, if you can take some of that stress off of anyone that you love, why wouldn't you do it?
Makes a lot of sense.
Because you're going to die. Okay, I know it sucks. I know it sucks hearing it. I know it sucks.
Nobody wants to think about it.
No, but you
You could have been in that Turkey earthquake and
Yeah.
been one of the 46,000 people or however many people have passed so far.
that's anything. Anything
That
can
was
happen.
unexpected.
Yep. Walking across the street and getting hit by a bus, that can be unexpected,
Hey, I deliver the mail and people drive by like crazy.
There you go. You never, ever know. So this way, yeah, it's hard to do. It'll take a couple of hours out of your day. But then it's done.
And then you just pay a monthly fee.
And you can pick that too. Like mine's $50 a month. And it could have been less than that if I chose a longer
And that
plan.
covers your funeral, your
Yep.
casket, all the paperwork stuff they have to do.
Yep. And the transportation from wherever you are if something happens,
Right.
if you're traveling.
And do we know what an average funeral and all that stuff costs right now?
I don't know what the cost is right now. At the time, in 2019, it was around $8,500 just for the mere basics.
Okay.
And that was with cremation.
Right.
So that was with, not a casket involved,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
Caskets are expensive.
Yeah, they're like $4,000 or more.
They do have show caskets, though. I know that sounds bad, but they do lay your loved one out in a coffin so that you can go and say your last
I think that's what we did with Mom.
farewells and things like that. Put letters in with them, put whatever you want in with them, and then that's that. They are cremated. So
Right.
Yeah, or not cremated, whatever you want.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense to not do it. Like, what the hell are you waiting for? It's going to happen. You're going to die.
You're going to die, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It sucks. But you know what? A lot of things suck.
That is true.
So
but a lot of things are beautiful.
That's very true. And life is beautiful.
Yes.
And the people who are left behind are beautiful. So you're not doing this for yourself.
You're doing it to save them some heartache and grief.
That's exactly right.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
It's not for you. You're dead.
Yeah.
It is for the people that are left behind. Because why wouldn't you want to do that for them? Because you're too afraid to get off your ass and plan your own funeral?
And that $50 a month also covers the plot and all that stuff.
Well, I don't know about that.
Oh.
No, this is just the funeral stuff.
Oh,
I don't know about...
The burial? That's separate?
That might be included with if you do that.
Yeah.
But I don't know because I never planned that part.
Oh.
Because neither one of us want to be buried.
Okay.
We both wanted.
But it covers the cremation for you.
Yes.
And, okay.
And your pot,
And the
your urn, whatever you want to put
Okay,
yourself
so
in,
just
right?
whatever details. Okay.
Yes,
So
all of
it
that
would
stuff.
cover the plot and the burial and all that stuff, depending on what your options are.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. There's so many different options. And I mean, yes, it's hard to do. You might want to bring a friend. You might want to bring a loved one. I did it alone. It was very hard. But I did what I knew had to be done when I was mentally cognizant
Right.
enough to do it.
Before
I
all
knew the grief was coming.
but it wasn't there yet.
But there was remnants of it there.
There was pre-grief.
Yes,
course.
absolutely. However, like, dudes, like, I can't stress it enough. You're going to die. And the people who are left behind, this is something they need you to do. It's not even I don't know why people are waiting. I know it's fear.
Because if you don't think about it, it's not going to happen.
But we all know that that's not true.
Of course, logically.
You know,
yeah.
ignorance is not bliss in this case.
Right.
You know, this isn't some run-of-the-mill whatever. You know, you spend $50 a month easily on fast food and coffee.
So put that towards something.
That is going to help your loved ones when you're gone.
There you go. That's a topic we have never covered here on Soul Forge Podcast, end of life planning, but it makes a lot of sense.
It does, and it's hard. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not an easy thing to do, but it really should be a priority. I think people need to understand it should be a priority because it's not for you. It's for them.
Very good. Well, I appreciate you telling us all about your story and the background and
Well,
all the good stuff here.
if I can help one person, you know,
Yeah, for sure.
that's all I really, maybe that one person helps.
Somebody else.
Yeah.
And the chain continues.
Exactly.
There you go. Excellent. Is there
This-
anything else?
No, this has been super fun. I love being part of the Soul Forge podcast.
Fantastic. You always have some good insights.
Well, you know, don't make my ego blow up a bit.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Although, you know.
Because if your head explodes, then
At least my funeral's
there
covered.
you go. Exactly.
The fun and funeral.
Oh, that's what we're all about here on Soul Forge. You know it.
Exactly.
All right, listeners. Hope you had an enjoyable experience listening to that. Go out and plan your funeral or plan a loved one's funeral because somebody's going to appreciate it.
Yeah, and you're gonna die.
Yes, as you've reminded us several times. So
I gotta nail it in because people just don't listen.
that is true. But what they can do is leave a 5-star review in the podcatcher of their choice. They can take care of themselves and each other. And remember, you don't have one? You had one.
Oh my god. Hang on.
The best things in life are free.
No, that one's brutal and
We don't sell those.
boring. Yeah, no, we don't sell those here. That has nothing to do with funeral planning. Oh. No. If you come back from the dead, at least you get to come out of the coffin you chose.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Soul Forge Podcast. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we hope you'll tune in again next time. Remember that you can visit soulforgepodcast.com for all of our social media links. And don't forget to share the show with everyone you know. The Soul Forge Podcast is your best source for living your best life.
Think about it.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.